And we're live.
What do you guys think about the fact that that New York Times article, or really all those articles that were claiming that Trump was under investigation, like it was a fact, Comey debunked that. And
yeah,
like, and the
interesting.
only thing that didn't leak throughout all these leaks, the only thing that didn't leak is the fact that Trump wasn't under investigation. Like, how does that not show deliberate intent to harm Trump leaking?
That's exactly what it was. It was clear
also,
that all
the
of the
fact
leaks
that
were
Comey
meant to harm
said
Trump.
that Trump. Also, yeah, the leaks are meant to harm Trump. Also, the fact that when Comey was asked, did Trump try to get you to stop the Russian investigation, he said no. He said he wanted me to stop after Flynn. He did. He said that when he was being asked today. He said, no, he did not do that. What I felt it was like is that he was telling me to let go of the Flynn thing, but I did not feel like he was asking me to shut down the Russia investigation. He actually told me to find out if there were agents who were working with Russia. Like, it's just, this whole thing has, like, so now I'm waiting for the pivot, because clearly there's not direct collusion between Trump and Russia. There's not. And so I'm thinking the pivot is going to be, okay, well, he's obstructing justice. Now we're going to go to the obstructing justice angle, which is still interesting, because what Comey admitted in this is that when he thought that justice was being obstructed with Loretta Lynch and the Clintons, basically when she met him on the tarmac and whatnot, and they were, Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton talking about the Hillary email thing, Comey said, I think that he said that made me uneasy. It made me feel like it was unfair. And what did he do? He ended up shutting down the investigation. Similar thing happens with Trump. And what's he decide to do? Appoint a special counsel. And so it's like, but on the same token, you can't look at the Loretta Lynch thing and be like, see, obstruction of justice, that's awful. And then look at the Trump thing where he says, baby, don't investigate Flynn anymore, and say, oh, that's fine, that's whatever. Because everybody out there who's conservative, if Obama fucking said to the FBI investigator, hey, I want you to lay off this person in my cabinet or whatever, you would be rightfully upset by it. So both things can be true. Both things are bad. And it's just a very huge difference in the way Comey responded. In one, he shuts down the investigation. In the other, he takes it ultimately seriously. He refused, by the way, the one thing, like what Trump was pissed about is that Comey never came out and said, you're not under investigation, Donald Trump. You are not under investigation. That when Trump said he told me 3 times, that was confirmed today. It was confirmed that he told them 3 different times that you are not under investigation. And Trump was upset because Comey would not say, you're not under investigation in public. And so Trump, being the narcissistic, fickle, impatient, surround yourself with yes men kind of guy that he is, I'm convinced he just said, fine, you won't fucking go with my plan. You're fired. I'll get someone else in. And because there's nobody around him to say, hey, you know what? That makes you look like a suspicious douche. Because he surrounds himself with yes men and loyal, to a fault people, that he just made a stupid political ploy.
Yep, I agree with all that. I thought that today it didn't look like, what came out today to me, it made Trump look more incompetent and like he didn't know what the hell he was doing, especially as it comes to protocol. Sure. And I don't know anything about protocol either. None of us do, because we're not ingrained in it like a Washington, D.C. politician. But I thought it was interesting. They were like, what? He spoke to the FBI director without the attorney general in the room? But that doesn't, and I was like, well, why is that a problem? I don't understand. And they're like, oh, well, that's his boss. He can't do that. And I saw Paul Ryan come out and he said, oh, you got to
hold on. The thing about Trump not working with the Russians as a confirmed piece of fact is not true, right? Like, we do know as a confirmed piece of fact that Trump said, I'll tell you this, Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you'll be rewarded mightily by our press.
Do you think that's not collusion or evidence of any collusion at all?
It's something he said. Exactly what it is, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Precisely, undeniably, irrevocably asking the Russians to hack Hillary Clinton's emails and release them, which is what they did.
No, it is not.
Right?
No, it is not.
That is working with the Russians to influence the Russians.
No, it's not. Him saying,
how is that not working with the Russians?
Because obviously he's not telling
just
Russians.
Just because he did it in public doesn't mean that's not asking the Russians to influence the election. That is exactly asking the Russians to influence the election. But that's not collusion, and it's not illegal. And then headed into the campaign after Trump was going to get the headed into the campaign where they do what the fuck is it called? The convention.
The debate.
The convention I'm going for. And one second, Kyle. So headed into convention, he had the Republicans change the plank about Russia into the platform. It used to say that the U.S. would provide Ukraine with lethal defensive weapons, and they changed that to be appropriate assistance, right? So they're backing off this whole Russian-Ukraine thing. When it was the Republicans previously that were more aggressive towards this, they felt like Obama is kind of a pussy towards letting...
Obama wanted the Russian reset in 2012, where he wanted, the reset with Russia.
Yeah, and that didn't work.
Like, I looked up the definition of...
continued to fuck him. And he wanted to do a Russian reset. Obama was kind of like not as harsh against Russia as the Republicans were until Trump came along. And once Trump became the leader of the Republican Party, now he's not even as harsh as Obama was, right? He stepped it back. There's a lot of smoke around this thing. Taylor went for like 10 minutes. There's a lot of like... whether it be Kushner setting up back channels, whether it be, Trump praising Russia for not responding to the sanctions that Obama put in place, and then talking to them behind the scenes saying, hey, we're going to release these sanctions on you as soon as we get on board. And then the Russians undeniably did do their best to influence the election. So,
it's not undeniably at all. Like, there's nothing confirmed about that. There's no collusion between Trump. Even if Flynn and Manafort, it turns out that they're shady and there was shit going on, that still does not at all implicate Trump himself as colluding with Russia. Like,
right, so what Comey said today is there should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered with our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose. They did it with sophistication. They did it with overwhelming technical efforts. It was driven from the top of their government. It is not a close call. That happened.
But we've known that from the beginning, between that and Trump asked for this and colluded with them to do it is where none of the evidence
I think the definition... I want to talk. Can I? I want 15 solid seconds.
Yeah, take a minute.
The definition of collusion might be important, right? Like collusion isn't a word I use in my day-to-day, so I had to look it up. I wanted to know what collusion meant. Secret or illegal cooperation or conspiracy, especially in order to cheat or deceive others. So I do think that him saying it in public at a campaign rally or on the mic negates it being collusion necessarily. I see your point, and I understand where you're coming from, and he's definitely up there saying that. I just don't think, and I've said this before, we've defined the word before, that it meets the qualifications of collusion as the law would view them, especially. And I think at the end of this, 4 years from now, 10 years from now, what we're going to find is that Trump did a lot of things that were unsavory, wrong, morally corrupt. But I don't think we're going to find anything that Trump did illegal, against the law, that could be prosecutable, impeachable, or any of the above. I don't think that will ever be found. I think we'll find a lot of smoke, and we'll see a lot of things he did where we're like, God damn it, what a shady motherfucker he was. But I don't think he's going to break the law.
You might be right. To be honest, I should have looked up collusion too, because I was just using it as a synonym as cooperation, which he did out in the open. Out in the open, he asked the Russians to hack emails, and they did, and they released it every week. I remember we used to joke about it. We're like, they're getting maximum mileage out of this. If they were a YouTuber, they didn't release all these videos on one day. They did daily videos to make sure it got all the mileage possible. We talked about that. And that was done. It may have been done whether Trump requested it or not, but that's what Trump requested. He requested that they hack these emails and that they just distribute them.
But to pretend like him saying, if someone's got all those emails that and they let him go, I think our press would reward you mightily for it. Like tying that at a speech to him colluding with Russia to win the election and to cheat is where between those two things there is no evidence at all. Like, which is why I think they are going to pivot, because this hearing with Comey today really did not. It wasn't the full, vindicated that a lot of people on the right wanted, but it also did not go well for the Democrats because Comey didn't come out and say, yeah, we got all this stuff, we got this, we got that. He actually came out and said, yeah, the New York Times, they got that story wrong, and Slate and HuffPo and CNN and MSNBC and fucking Fox Business or whoever else reported it. Yeah, they all reported it as fact, and it was wrong that he was under investigation. That's not true. Yeah. Like, it's just like that's a huge story. For the last few months, it's been confirmed and reported as such that Trump is under investigation. Schumer,
I didn't think that was true.
Elizabeth Warren, both of those people used that as an excuse to say you shouldn't be able to put Gorsuch in as a Supreme Court justice. You're under investigation by the FBI. You know, it was a
remember
huge
that.
news
Yeah.
story, and it comes out
Actually,
today that is
I didn't hear
100%
that.
bunk.
I remember them
it is
saying
false.
until this Russian thing is settled. That was the language that I heard. I never thought Trump was under investigation. Everyone around Trump
Lots of
seems to be
people do.
under investigation. I didn't know that other people thought Trump himself was under investigation. It seems to me they're getting everyone next to him before they go after the president of the United States directly. They did ask Comey, do you think Trump colluded with Russia? And his response was, I can't answer that in an open setting. And you know, that to
Just
me
like
is not
he couldn't answer it. Go ahead. Sorry.
that to me is not like the vindicate. That's not no. It's not yes, but God, you know, it sounds like he's got that. That's not an answer that would make me comfortable if I was Trump. You know, like, oh, I'll tell you, let me get into that in an hour from now when we talk privately. Like that.
You were saying that they're going after the people close to Trump. How would they fucking get Jeff Sessions right away, right? Like that motherfucker is just the worst. Not a big fan of him, even a little bit. That's a
I
real
don't like
cunt.
the drug stuff. I don't like he was amping up
Yeah.
anti-weed stuff. It's like, aren't we hit the tipping point of this finally?
Yeah.
He's like the only guy left who's that backwards, and he happens to be the only guy in the position of enforcement on that. Like he's the guy who gets to decide, and he's like old timey and backwards as it fucking gets. That's infuriating. I don't
Until
like
he
that a
had
lot.
to, he seemed like he was running cover for Trump on this whole Russian thing, and then he had to recuse himself. I forget what the event was that made Sessions be like, "All right, I got to get out." Oh, was it when they ran the thing to them before it got public? I forget. Like they had information and they told Trump about
There's
it.
so
and
much
then
to
it
keep track of.
There's
Yeah,
it's impossible.
We're on the same page on that one.
So many times that you'll be following a lead or a story and you'll think it's relevant, and then like 3 days later it like turned out to be complete smoke. Like not even relevant or even a thing sometimes, and you're like, God damn it, so much misinformation, and I just want to be informed.
It feels
But by
to
that
me like
point,
on
the
this
news
Russian
cycle's moved
thing
on.
that there are a lot of people doing the investigation on Team Trump. Like I felt that way about Richard Burr for a long time, right? Like he's leading the whatever Senate investigation, and then he just seems like he's there to protect Trump while leading the investigation against him. You know, like, oh my God, you know, don't we all wish we had that scenario, like your own friends and family were the people investigating you? And Sessions seemed like he was that guy until something happened, which he pretty much was forced to recuse himself. And I can't remember the event. And Comey was a guy that it seems like wasn't that, and then he got fired. And you know, that was a neat little line too. Like, do you believe the president fired you over the Russia investigation? And he said, yes, because I've heard the president say so, right? Because he said to Lester Holt in that interview, you know, I fired him because of this. And then, of course, he told the Russians, like, oh, this guy's a kook. This is going to take a lot of pressure off of me, etc. That's obstruction of justice. Like, I feel like...
It's not obstruction of justice.
Not if he didn't actually commit a crime.
I actually heard a Harvard professor of law talked about how it is not obstruction of justice. Mm-hmm. I'm actually not an attorney. Cliff Hutchinson's made up. It's not real. I know. I'm impersonating an attorney.
Are you serious?
Okay, all that legal advice I gave you, Kyle, it is
stamping my paperwork weeks now.
You've been notarizing all my shit, but no, it's not collusion. Like, and another thing I
read that. So just
learned,
for what it's worth.
Oh,
I was on the internet today, and someone, I forget who the source was, and it's on the internet, so clearly it's true, but they linked a legal precedent where it was proved to be obstruction of justice, and the guy used the same language when he said, like, you know, I hope that you can see your way to make this not happen at all, you know, end the Flynn investigation, what have you. So I was like, oh, well, there's some sort of legal precedent where that I hope precursor doesn't make the guy innocent.
There's not a legal precedent for even like running the president up on criminal charges. Like I was listening to CNN explain that today. They're like, there's not a precedent for even filing charges against the president. Like in the Nixon thing, he was a co-conspirator in other charges, and that's how they got him involved. But they were saying, like, even if he has broken the law, we're not sure if we can even do anything because Congress isn't going to impeach him.
It's going to be on something like related to this. It'll be on the cover-up. It'll be on the obstruction. Like, I don't think they're actually going to get him for colluding with the Russians. You know, like when they get gangsters, they get them on tax evasion or something. I think it's going to be something in that family. Like Trump got ran out of town, not because he colluded with the Russians, but because he's a, you know, constant double parker and, you know.
And he does not pay his, I don't believe in single parking. I'm a girthy man and I get a lot of exit route.
Yeah, you know, and they're just going to get him out on something other than the actual thing they got him out on, if it happens at all.